everyone, my name is Isabel Pazmiño Mayorga and I'm a research associate at the University of Manchester, and today I'm pleased to share about the new technology we are developing at the university inside the Sustainable Process Intensification group, SPRING. This technology is called chemical looping, the climate Avenger. And we will see how this technology can help industries become more sustainable. Let's start. First of all, I'm a chemical engineer. I come from Quito, Ecuador, and since I was a kid, I love maths. Eventually, I got to university and studied chemical engineering. But what does a chemical engineer do? If we see around us, we have food products, paper, we have electronics, jewelry that contain precious materials, and all those other materials that are used for clothes, for pots, for plastic bags, everything. We will call them collectively as products. And these products come from a transformation inside something that we call a process. What goes into the process? These are raw materials, for example, those coming from mining, crops, or the oil industry. In addition, a process needs energy and produces some waste. And we try to minimize the use of energy and the production of waste because this waste usually gets released into the environment, causing devastating consequences. Coming back to my journey as a chemical engineer in Ecuador, I worked in different industries, starting from mining, oil, and cement production. You see here, this is me next to a flotation device that is used to separate gold from the materials that are not valuable in a refinery where we get fuels from petroleum and inside the furnace to produce cement that we need for buildings or for bridges, highways. Disclaimer, this furnace was off and during maintenance when I took this picture. Now, coming back to my journey as a chemical engineer from Ecuador, I came to the UK, to Manchester, to study a PhD. So now I am a chemical engineer, a researcher, and a mom. I work at the university in a computer studying new technologies that can help industries become more sustainable. Today, I will focus in one of the industries that chemical engineers work, and this is energy. Energy can take many forms. We see here an example of our open flame that we usually feel heat if we put our hands close to it, right? But we are surrounded by energy everywhere. For example, when you get this hot cup of tea or coffee or chocolate in a winter, also the heating we have in our homes, the fuels we use in vehicles, lights for the streets, for our houses, and all the materials we use in a daily basis. For example, in the clothes we wear, in the pots, in the plastic bags, in everything that we use. I will focus on a particular type of energy that is thermal energy, heat. If we come back to the description of how a process works when we have raw materials that get transformed in a process to obtain products, now we will use the same idea and analyze how thermal energy is produced. The process is called combustion. And to have a combustion, we need fuel and oxygen from the air. As we saw earlier, apart from the products, we also have some wastes and unwanted byproducts. For example, carbon dioxide that goes out from the process together with nitrogen. Unfortunately, this carbon dioxide causes something called global warming, and we all know the devastating consequences that it is producing in our planet. And we need to do something to stop releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That's why chemical looping, the climate Avenger, will help industries become more sustainable with a wise ways to avoid releasing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Let's see again how combustion works. We have fuel and air that goes into the process called combustion, producing thermal energy and also carbon dioxide and the nitrogen from the air, which is not reacting. Now, in chemical looping, combustion is broken down in several steps: oxidation and reduction. Also, the raw materials, the feeds to each step of this process are split. We have air going into oxidation and the fuel going into reduction. We have a solid material that we call oxygen carrier because it carries oxygen and it is put inside of our process. This material gets the oxygen trapped inside while releasing nitrogen, free from contaminants and hence not producing any damage to the environment. At the same time, this reaction of oxidation makes the solid material, the oxygen carrier, become very, very hot. Then we use the oxygen that was trapped inside the solid material and it goes to the next step. So now we are feeding a fuel and here the oxygen is released, reacting with the fuel and produces carbon dioxide. But this time, carbon dioxide is in a high concentration so that it can be used as a product. Did you know that the gas in those fizzy drinks are carbon dioxide? Yes, so carbon dioxide as a product can be used in the food industry. Also, another way to manage carbon dioxide is to safely store underground so that this is not released to the atmosphere. Our process become more sustainable as we are avoiding the release of carbon dioxide to the environment. In a final step, the heat that was trapped inside the solid material is used in chemical industries, for example, to drive reactions that require heat. Once this heat is removed, then we are ready to start another loop of chemical looping with another oxidation. And we are ready to power industries with cleaner thermal energy coming from a cleaner combustion. Do you want to become the next Avenger for the planet? I have a few recommendations for you to help us fight climate change. First, be curious. Ask why things are happening the way that are happening. You can find information by reading. You can read books, you can read magazines, and read labels. Believe it or not, when you read the label of a product, you can make better choices when you buy something so you can reduce your carbon footprint. The carbon footprint is that we leave behind and that is associated with the energy that was used to produce heat, to produce material, to produce everything that we consume. And finally, explore a career in STEM and join our crew to make our planet more sustainable. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this talk. And remember, you can be the next climate avenger.